Derrimon has grown from a single shipping container into a multi-billion-dollar empire. If we can turn a container into a conglomerate, there's no limit to what we can do with growing money. We have big plans for this APO. Join us and see how far we can grow.
Our base is food. I'll quote my brother. He said that people haven't quite found a substitute for food.
Yes. So as long as there is Sunday dinner,
yes,
you're moving products.
As long as there's dinner and breakfast and lunch, we'll be moving products.
Yeah, right.
I'm one of those financial person within the organization that is always ready to channel resources in the direction that will allow us to grow. And that is what I've seen through this pandemic. What we have done through the pandemic shows that the base that we would have built from Sampars to the distribution to Woodcats to CFF, the return on equity makes me excited.
We have a growth philosophy. Our mantra is grow or die. And we have a company that is now ready and poised to go to the next level, and we see its tremendous growth potential.
Derrimon has been a part of your life for longer than you've known. From the rice in your Sunday dinner to the Nestle products in your homes, offices, schools, and churches. From outlets like Sampars and select grocers. From the wood pallet manufacturers used to carry, ship, and store the things you buy daily. To your favorite flavors and fragrances. Derrimon's been there, steadily growing into a multi-billion-dollar empire. This APO is your chance to grow with a billion-dollar brand. Kickstart the new year with the Derrimon APO.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the launch of Derrimon's additional public offer. Today on the panel, we have the pleasure of having Mr. Derek Cottrell, a man who wears many hats, the chairman, the founder, and CEO of Derrimon Trading Company Limited. We also have the pleasure of having Mr. Ian Kelly, Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer of Derrimon Trading Company Limited. On the panel, we also have Mr. Simon Johnson, Assistant Vice President at Burita Investments Limited, and myself, Therese Kettle, Assistant Vice President and your moderator here at Burita Investments Limited. So, what are we here to discuss today? Well, at Burita Investments Limited, we pride ourselves on being game changers in the financial services industry. We are not afraid to educate and share with our clients the importance of making money work for you. So today, we're here to break it down for you, to answer all of your questions as to why it is a good time to invest in this so-called sleeping giant, the GEM, the fastest growing distribution entity on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Derrimon Trading Company Limited. In August 2020, Burita Investments Limited embarked upon its own additional public offer in the heights of the COVID-19 pandemic. We received subscriptions in excess of $3.5 billion, which represented the upsized offer. As a part of our own key imperatives, we highlighted the establishment of our own investment banking unit and our ability to leverage key strategic relationships and focus on onboarding prime investment banking clients. Based on our assessment, Derrimon fits the bill with its transformational growth over the years, its robust financial performance, significant capital appreciation in comparison to its peers in the distribution industry. It carries, over the years, it has been able to carry out several accretive acquisitions and its superior return on equity. As we worked with Derrimon, we saw what many others were seeing, an agile, fast-growing distribution entity with aspirations to grow its footprint internationally. The synergies between Burita and Derrimon were clear. And in true Barita style, we were unafraid to put our money where our mouth is. And that is why we undertook the bold step to fully underwrite this offer. During the presentation today, you're going to hear from the principals themselves, the evolution of Derrimon Trading Company Limited, the governance structure, details about the upcoming APO, why it is that now is a good time to invest in the GEM, this agile, fast-growing distribution entity, and how easy it is to become a part of the Derrimon Trading Group as it continues feeding families and fueling growth. Of course, we want to hear from you, so we're going to ask the media to type those questions and send them in to us, as we have the principals here with us and we want to take full advantage of this opportunity. So, Derek, let's start. Tell us a little bit about the Derrimon story.
Well, Derrimon started back in 1998, December 1998 to be exact. So that's 22 years ago. And we have had, it's a tremendous story. It has been many ups and downs. I must say it has been mostly ups. We are very happy for that. In 2002, we started a wonderful relationship with Nestle Jamaica. Nestle is the biggest food company in the world, and we have learned and have benefited a lot from that association. We started off very small, we're just doing 4 parishes, small amount of sales, and we have managed to grow that business from about $1 million back in 2002 to over $1 billion worth of business now annually. So we have shown tremendous growth there. In 2009, we decided we need to diversify our income, so we went do some forward vertical integration, and we went into the retail and wholesale space. We're very familiar with the company Samparas Cash and Carry, had a long association with the previous owners, and so it was natural for us to take over that business, and it has been tremendous. Since then, we have grown Samparas to 7 brick-and-mortar locations. We have added another retail brand called Select Grocers. And we have also had our exciting e-commerce store, which is another store in of itself. And that's been really very exciting. In 2013, we listed on the Jamaica Junior Stock Exchange, and that has been tremendous for us. We want to continue to promote the Jamaica Junior Stock Exchange. It is a very, very good product. It's very good for companies in Jamaica to grow and to use the stock exchange in that way. In 2014, we continued our acquisitions. We bought the majority shareholdings in Caribbean Flavor and Fragrances. That has been a very good synergies. Our association with that company has been really excellent, and our company continues to grow. It's also listed on the Jamaica Junior Stock Exchange. 2018 was a very strong year for us. We acquired the SM Jalid portfolio. That's Chubby, Buster, Cool Kids, Fruta, Viva. Those products are household products in Jamaica and the Caribbean. In fact, those brands are all over the world. So it was a very good acquisition for us in terms of getting that portfolio under distribution. And additionally, we also acquired the majority shareholdings in Woodcat International, Jamaica's premier poly company. We have strong plans for that company, and we expect that company to continue to grow. 2020 was an interesting, but I'll tell you, an exciting year for us. It was challenging. It was the pandemic. Nobody expected it. But we managed to pivot pretty quickly. We managed to maintain our sales, grow in some areas, grow our profit. But more than anything else, we began to plan for 2021. We made several deliberate actions, including ramping up our manpower, ramping up the quality of our people, to pivot into 2021, where we want to take Derrimon Trading to the world.
Yes, so we like that, the evolution of Derrimon Trading Company Limited. Thank you for that, Derek. Now, Derrimon Trading Company Limited, is led by a cadre of professionals, each with several years of experience in their respective field. So the company is governed by, of course, we have the men here, Derek Cottrell. He's a chairman and chief executive officer. We also have Monique Cottrell, who is a company secretary and HR director. We also have with us here Mr. Ian Kelly, the Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer. The company is also governed by 4 non-executive directors, Mr. Winston Thomas, Alexander Williams, Paul Buchanan Jr., and Earl Anthony Richards, CD. Now, again, the team is led by, Derek, Monique, Ian, Sheldon, and Craig. Now, when we talk about Derrimon Trading Company Limited, a lot of the time, people think about fast-moving consumer goods. But as we know, and Derek and Ian will walk us through and take us through, what are the various lines of businesses that make up Derrimon Trading Company Limited? Derek?
Well, we started off with a distribution company, and I already spoke about the Nestle brands that we represent. We are sub-distributors for Nestle throughout the country of Jamaica. We also represent the SM Jalil brands, Chubby, Cool Kids, Fruta, Buster. But we also are in everybody's life, everybody's everyday living. We sell a lot of rice, we sell a lot of flour. In fact, we are the largest importer of rice and importer and distributor of rice in Jamaica. We sell a lot of flour, a lot of cooking oil, a lot of basic products. A lot of your frozen meats, oxtail, mutton, etc. We also have other brands that are up and coming. There's an exciting brand that we represent called Sun Detergent. That's really exciting to grow that business from one container about 8 or 9 years ago. Now we're doing almost 50 containers a year. We have margarines, we have Shavot teas. We have other very exciting brands. And of course, we have our own brand, Delect, which part of this APO, or the proceeds of the APO, is to build out this brand, not just for Jamaica, but to the world. We have global aspirations, and we're starting off in North America. But this is a brand that we think can do some different things for Jamaica, will have a different feel, and will add value to shareholders as we build out our brand. In 2019, we moved our distribution center from Marcus Garvey Drive to a new facility at Ferry. It's a pretty large facility. We are not at capacity yet. It's built for growth, and that's exactly what we plan to do, grow the business, so we'll grow into the capacity there. So it's 105,000 square feet located at Ferry, and it's really a wonderful opportunity for us. In addition to that, we are rolling out our new IT platform around about the middle of this year, and that's going to really make a lot of difference and transform the distribution business. The distribution business plays a vital role and support for the retail business.
So there, investors, in 2009, we have decided that we need to bring some level of diversification to our revenue stream. And what else, and what was good, is that we thought the best way to do it was to get into the retail space. And that retail space will also help as a catalyst for the distribution company. And here goes, our first acquisition was Sampars in 2009, led by our chairman at the time. We have evolved, where we are now operating 7 retail stores under the Sampars brand in the parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Manchester and St. Anne, and through the mediums of supermarkets, cash and carry, and outlets. And the diversity of those 3 different platforms goes to different market segments, even within the retail space. It is important because, one, what it does, it helps to bring a level of stability to your revenue base, and also margins, which is an important aspect of our growth strategy. That retail space help to bring the focus that is required for you to grow, and that has helped us. In addition to that, we have brought on another brand, because branding is also important. And not only that, Sampars is not a household brand, but there is also the Select brand, which caters to another segment of the market. And our first store is in the Upper Manor Park Plaza, and part of this APO will also help to broaden the retail space of
the group, because we feel, based on the strategy and based on the outcomes that we have garnered thus far, that this is a good place to be. And the strategy of moving into the identifiable era is well documented within our company. The pandemic also showed that our novel idea back in 2009, when we started our Shop Sampars, our online store, was the right decision.
Absolutely.
And at this time, we would have seen the growth, yes. Right? We would have put in the work, and would have seen when it matters most that having the right facilities can bring about the right returns. And we are very confident based on what we have experienced thus far. And given what we are going into 2021, or as my chairman always says, Derrimon 2.0, we'll see that more emphasis will be placed on the non-brick and mortar store, because that in itself is another way of growing our retail space.
Especially
Derek?
during the pandemic, right?
The pandemic
Yes.
was a revelation for us,
yes.
and continues to be a revelation,
yes.
In that space. You see?
Well, Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances is our first venture into manufacturing, or was our first venture into manufacturing in 2014. It has really been a wonderful experience. It's a very good company. It's the leading flavor and fragrance manufacturing distributor in Jamaica, and we are one of the leading ones in the entire Caribbean. We are the flavor in a lot of everyday products in Jamaica.
And the Caribbean.
And the Caribbean, that's true. We are also the fragrance in a lot of your household products that you will use every single day. Caribbean Flavor and Fragrances is the Caribbean representative of IFF, and IFF is the largest flavor and fragrance manufacturer and distributor in the entire world. What this does, this kind of synergy and this kind of representation, brings first world technology to the Caribbean manufacturers. So CFF plays a huge part in the product development stage of manufacturers here in Jamaica and the Caribbean generally, to ensure that they have access to the best and latest technology at a scalable rate, because one of the challenges when you deal with a lot of these big companies internationally is that the scale they operate on is way too big for our Caribbean companies. Mm-hmm. So CFF fills that role significantly, mm-hmm. and brings that uniqueness. CFF is an exciting company, has shown tremendous growth, and is poised for even greater growth as we do a lot of things in terms of developing unique Jamaican flavors, to bring it in a way that we can do more value-added products here in Jamaica, so we can take it to the entire world. And so Caribbean Flavors is by itself a company that is poised to do great things in the next few years.
Well, I know my chairman is missing out something important, because CFF is not only for the Caribbean. Or SQF certification that we would have attained 2 years ago allow us to be even a larger company for even a bigger space. Mm-hmm. So the Safe Quality Food certification is the highest international food certification, and our company has been fully certified 2 years ago. And some of the benefits that you're seeing in the financial rewards during 2020, in the year of a pandemic, is also driven by some of those investments that we would have made in the base company. So, and that triggers to Woodcats. It is another manufacturing company that would have acquired, and it is based on a vision that we would have had of broadening and making ourselves resistant to shocks. Mm-hmm. So it means to us that where there is an impact on one company, there's always enough in our space to allow mm-hmm. us. And that's what we did with Woodcats. We have bought a company which is the largest wood manufacturing company, pallet company in Jamaica. And the fact is, there's no manufacturing facility that can operate in Jamaica without the use of pallets. you are not able to operate your lines, your production lines, without having something to store them. And that's the value add of woodcats. Woodcats also has the base to allow for international and regional exports based on the fact that we would have our e-treatment facility, and that is important in terms of pests and allowing for you to store your goods in a way that you feel safe. And the truth is, we have doubled the capacity since our acquisition in 2018 based on the growth and the demand for this facility. We also supply plastic pallets for the food industry, and we have also reduced the need for imports of wood chips which are used. I'm sure in the gardening and landscaping industry, they would have seen the Summerland line of wood chips. That's a woodcats product, and what that does is reduce the need for imports. Our company is one of the few companies that we can say nothing is wasted at Woodcats. Everything, the byproduct of something and the waste of something becomes a product of another product. Our efforts now of retooling and of improving our manufacturing facility is the next stage, and we have started on this phase, and surely we will see the increased growth in the top line, in the profitability, and in the scalability of this new company. Teresa?
Yeah, man. So, Derek and Ian, so talk about diversification of revenue streams. There we have it. We have distribution, retail, wholesale, flavors and fragrances, and we'll also have the wooden pallets, right? That's a big deal, and that is Derrimon Trading Company Limited. Now, apart from the overall financial, robust financial performance of Derrimon Trading Company Limited, Derrimon plays a significant role in their community through their various philanthropic efforts. So, we see where it is that, Derrimon adopts schools. We see where Derrimon, provides educational scholarships. And most importantly, especially now during the pandemic, we're seeing where Derrimon is playing their role as it relates to the care packages, right? They have done several packages, and they would have contributed significantly to the communities through their care packages. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just another APO. This is the launch pad for the next phase, a transformational growth phase of Derrimon Trading Company Limited. And we're going to get into the meat of the matter, Derrimon's additional public offer. Now, I'm going to give you a few details. Much of it you may know already because you're so excited and you have read the prospectus. So the company is looking to raise $3.5 billion in fresh equity capital. Right, the company is going to be issuing between $1.5 billion to $1.8 billion in new shares, and the price range is between $2.20 to $2.40 per share. Guys, we need to know this. The offer opens on January 6th, 2021, and closes on January 26th, 2021. That's a big deal, so remember those dates, guys, and remember to act fast. So I'm going to share a little bit more with you about the reserved pools. So we have an existing shareholder pool and a Derrimon team member pool, and that pool is priced at $2.20 per share. So I hope you are already a Derrimon shareholder. Right, we have some other pools. We have the key investor pool, we have the lead broker pool, and we also have the non-reserved pool for the general public. And those pools are priced at $2.40 per share. Now, what exactly is it that Derrimon is going to be using the money, the $3.5 billion that they're going to be raising for? Well, let's talk a little bit about it. So of the $3.5 billion that Derrimon is going to be raising, they're going to be using $1.1 billion to assist with the acquisition of not one, but two overseas entities. So you heard right, not one, but two overseas entities. And if you looked in the prospectus, you'd have seen where those acquisitions will take place in the United States. Now, in addition to that, Derek and Ian would have spoken about it. They're going to be expanding their retail locations. They're going to be moving to a 44,000 square foot location in central Jamaica, right? That's a big deal. They're going to be in the Millennium Mall, right? And they are going to be an anchor store, and it is going to be the state-of-the-art location in central Jamaica. Now, Derek could have spoken to this, right? The Delect brand. This is Derrimon's own brand, and that's a big deal for growing companies like Derrimon. So imagine when Derrimon has their own Delect brand. I hope when you guys go out there, you look out for the Delect brand. When you see it out there, you are contributing significantly to the improved margin. So whenever Derrimon has their own products, they are going to benefit, in terms of the bottom line as it relates to, the overall performance. So their own products improve margins, improve profitability, better return to shareholders, right? And that in and of itself is a big deal. Now, of the $3.5 billion that Derrimon is going to be raising, they're going to be using $1.2 billion to repay its debt. So when we look on Derrimon's debt profile and we look on it as at September 2020, we're seeing where debt represents 67% and equity represents 33%. Now, let's look on Derrimon post-APO. We're seeing where Derrimon has the potential to transform its overall capital structure. So it's going to move with equity at 71% and debt at 29%. And if they have the ability to upsize, equity will represent 74% and debt 26%, right? That's a big deal for Derrimon Trading Company Limited. So what are some of the things that Derrimon has to do to ensure that they're successful? And as we like to term it, what are some of their critical success factors or their strategic pillars? Well, we would have identified these: the development of their human capital. We spoke about it, the diversification of their revenue streams, and last but by no means least, the focus on expense management. Simon, walk us through the financial performance of Derrimon Trading Company Limited.
Sure, Teresa. So we've spoken about how amazing Derrimon is. We've spoken about the products. I would have learned that Derrimon does Milo and Chubby. Those are two of the major parts of my childhood, part of why I look like this. So if we look at the healthy, if we look at the financials for Derrimon though, over the 5-year period between 2014 and 2019, the company's sales have grown by 125%. A large part of this increase has not just been organic, meaning through the growth of their standard business or the legacy business, but has been through the acquisition of companies. So Derek would have mentioned Sampire some years ago before listing, but they acquired CFF, they acquired Woodcats, and Ian would have just mentioned that they have done a few very small, much smaller acquisitions over the years. Exactly. 6 acquisitions over the years. Mm-hmm. Now, the gross profits have grown by 264%, and you will realize that, and we'll go into the margins, the gross profit margin over that period has also grown. Now, from that top line growth or the growth in sales, this has increased the net profitability of the company up to 464% over the 5-year period. You should want to know that. Now, from a balance sheet perspective, because they've been acquiring majority stakes in companies, the total asset base of the company has increased by 338% to end 2019 at about $5.8 billion. And a part of that is attributable to the recognition of lease assets, which we can discuss a bit later on. Now, the increase in profitability has been accretive to shareholders, and as such, the total shareholders' equity for the company has increased by 225%. So the balance sheet has grown, shareholders' equity has grown, and if you look at the ROE at the far right corner of the graph, the ROE, the return to shareholders' equity, the returns that you as a shareholder should care about, has increased from 15.5% up to 26% as at the end of 2019. As I mentioned before, the gross profit margin has increased. Part of this has been some cost optimization or expense management, as Therese would have mentioned. The EBITDA margin has increased. So there has not just been expert cost management from a direct expense perspective, but there has been expert cost management from indirect or operating expenses as well. Now, if we were to look at Derrimon's ROE in 2014, Derrimon's ROE would have been about 200 basis points behind the market at 15.5%, where the market average or the select market average at that time was 17.8%. So the ROE was good, but it was a little below market. However, if you look at 2019, their ROE is 26% when compared to the ROE of a select market average of 16.8%. This shows the phenomenal or the transformational growth that has not just been seen in their sales, in their profitability, but it has also accreted to shareholders. Now, here I just want to point out, so Derek could have mentioned that the company sells what we call fast-moving consumer goods. And that is represented here in the total asset turnover, meaning the amount of times that assets turnover or go in and out over the period of time. And that has been relatively high compared to the industry. Just to give a brief snapshot of 2019, so I would have mentioned that the ROE is 26%, which compares favorably with the ROE for a select market average. However, sales for 2019 grew by 36%, and this increase in sales and cost management over that period has accreted down or flowed down to the bottom line of the company to increase net profitability by 17% to $291 million. And the expectation is that for 2020, that should be closer above $300 million. Now, we know that 2020, or let's call it 20XX, has been very challenging for many individuals, but for companies as well. We've seen the advent of companies making zero sales over that period. So the containment and mitigation strategies that have been implemented to curb the pandemic have affected businesses. So there are parts of Derrimon's sales that have gone down. So for example, the company provides beverages to schools, and that revenue line has been impacted. However, it goes back, and this goes back to the diversification that was mentioned before. Other revenue lines, such as Sampars and Select, or the retail part of the business, have actually grown to compensate the growth that in that period. So much so that 9-month profits for 2020 compared to 2019, where there was no pandemic, has increased by 27%. And if we look at the heights of the pandemic around Independence period, the profitability for that quarter, the third quarter, increased by over 50%. If that is, who gives away returns like that in a pandemic? Derrimon, right? So all of that is amazing. We've looked at the goods that the company sells. We've evidenced to you that Derrimon is a much larger part of your life than you think. We've looked at the financial performance of the company. But admittingly, investors, that would be nil if the company's stock was not performing. If we look at a 3-year period, Derrimon's stock price has grown, and this is as at, I've been thinking about the last week in December, Derrimon's stock price has grown over 200%, and this compares favorably to other companies within the same sector on the main and junior market. Now, that purple line that you're seeing on the line graph is when Jamaica recorded its first case of COVID in March, and you would have seen where that would have impacted all companies listed here on this graph. However, all companies, and certainly Derrimon, have rebounded from that period. Now, let's take it back a bit further. What if you were a shareholder from December 2013 when Derrimon listed on the junior stock market? If you had kept your shares over that 7-year period, you would have seen growth over 1,000% for that period. This compares we need a stronger word than favorably. This is a big deal. This is a big deal and compares very well to the rest of the companies listed here. That's a 10 times growth in your original investment. Now, we looked at the company's products. We evidenced the tremendous financial performance. We showed you that the company has not just performed in terms of the numbers on the income statement and balance sheet and return to you, the shareholders, over that period. We showed you that the stock price has performed 200% for 3 years, 1,000% over a 7-year period. But what does this mean? What's the value proposition that Barita and Derrimon are putting forward for you, not just investors of the past, but of course we hope potential investors going forward? Derrimon has a demonstrated track record of being able to not just find companies that are value accretive and that would substantiate or help their bottom line. They are experts in integrating those companies into their structure. So if you look here, pre-acquisition, when the company listed in 2013, the sales was about $5.3 billion. As of 2019, sales were $12.6 billion, and sales, I think, are closer to over $13 billion as at the end of 2020, or should be about $13 billion. But if you look at profitability for the period, it has grown from $50 million to $291 million. And I just want to mention that Woodcats, since taking over Woodcats, the company has grown their profitability by over 100%, and that's a one-year performance. CFF, Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, their sales have grown by 80% since Derrimon got involved with that company as well. The second value proposition that we're looking at, the acquisitions, the $1.1 billion that we expect to take from the APO monies to invest will go to acquiring 2 companies in a very large overseas market, and I'll allow Derek and Ian to go into that a bit more. The third one is dividend payout. Now, a consequence of the very fast and transformational growth of the company has been that the company has needed cash to stay in the business in order for it to grow and provide the returns that it has. So though the company has paid dividends for the last few years consistently, the dividend payout ratio, it could be more. And as such, we are increasing that payout ratio to at least 30% of income that is available to distribute over that period. Big deal, right? Now, you're saying, Simon, Therese, we get this. Fine. Show me the money. What does this mean to us? Where will Derrimon be a year from now? What is Derrimon 2.0? And if you look here, we expect, so remember, I evidenced to you that profitability has grown 27% for the 9-month period and over 50% in Q3. And the expectation is that in 2021, that will continue. And what we have here as details, legacy operations, will also grow and over that period. On top of that, as shown in the prospectus, the expectation is that the acquisitions that the company intends to make will add about 485 million Jamaican dollars to their bottom line. Hold on, I want to point out something to you. You realize that for 2019, I said Derrimon made $291 million. What we're telling you is that for 2021, it's likely that the acquisitions will add a further $485 million to that. And on top of that, because of the debt that we're paying out, that Therese mentioned before, and how that will change their capital structure, we expect, because they're not paying that debt anymore, and they're not paying interest on that debt, cash flows that would have gone to pay down interest can now stay in the business and be used for value accretive purposes over that period. So this is our value proposition to you. This is the Derrimon difference, and this is Derrimon 2.0. Therese.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, right? You have heard from the principals of Derrimon. You would have heard about the various lines of businesses, right, that are operated by Derrimon Trading Company Limited. You'd have heard about their robust financial performance, their leadership team. You'd have heard about how it is that Derrimon supports the community, the financial performance, right? When we talk about, capital growth, we're talking about Derrimon Trading Company Limited, and I'm sure at this point in time, it's something that you want to talk about right now. So we want to share with you, how can you become a part of Derrimon Trading Company Limited? How can you become a part of the success story? Well, make sure that you get your applications in as early as possible, right? You can apply online using burritoboss.com. You can also apply, coming into Burrito to any one of our 3 locations island-wide. And of course, we have our selling agents, right? And we have our selling agents, obviously who would have, supported this offer. So we'd like to thank Proven, Scotia Investments, JMMB, JN Fund Managers, and Sagicor Investments as selling agents acting on behalf of Derrimon Trading Company Limited. And what we want to do, we want to encourage you guys. We don't want you guys to miss out on this lucrative offer. So make sure you go on Burrito Boss. Make sure if you can't go online, you come in to any one of our locations or you visit our selling agents. All right? So we want to thank you guys, for hearing us out, hearing out the panelists. And we are going to invite your questions, especially from the media. Please type those questions in Zoom. Send them to us. You remember that we have the principals here. You're hearing it directly from the horse's mouth. You can't get better than that. So it is very important for you to get those questions answered right now. We would have been getting a few questions coming in from our audience, and we're going to start off with some of those questions right now. So Derek and Ian, talk to us. And I think, Derek, you can speak to this, right? A lot of people are going to be asking the question. Simon spoke about it, the acquisition. What more can you share with us about the acquisition?
Yes, thank you, Therese. Well, we're happy to share with the public that we are very, very close to concluding these acquisitions. They are located in the United States. We decided that Jamaica is just 2.8 million people. It's our home base. We are happy for the business we have here. We are going to be looking to get a lot more business here. But really, we realize that there's a lot more opportunities overseas. North America, we have a huge diaspora that we understand. We have been serving the diaspora through shopsampires.com. We have been getting very good feedback. So we decided that part of what can transform Derrimon is to get into that North American market. And so we are doing these 2 acquisitions very, very, very early this year. Mm-hmm. So we can really launch Derrimon 2.0 in a very big way. Mm-hmm. It's in business that we're accustomed to. It's in similar lines of business that we are here in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. It is going to have tremendous synergies with the business here. We have spent a long time studying those businesses, well over a year. The pandemic has proven to have some challenges, but those businesses have withstood the pandemic just as we have here in Jamaica, our business here in Jamaica. So we're getting into 2 very good, solid businesses in the United States. Proven, right? In a very good market. Mm-hmm. So we can pretty much launch from there. The synergies that our existing operations, both through logistics, through better purchasing, through all the synergies that will come with that, plus added on to that, our web store operations, that we can have those locations being fulfillment centers in the United States and the world, is going to bring tremendous synergies. Simon only mentioned what we expect to get from the legacy operations. We haven't really put together in the prospectus how much more we are going to gain when we get into those businesses properly and begin to see the synergies and begin to see what will transpire. There's also other business lines that will naturally come out from those businesses. So we are really very excited to get into the international markets, to get into earning foreign exchange, to get into bettering the lives of Jamaicans here at home, to really give shareholders a different level of value. We're really, really extremely excited about that. And these acquisitions will be happening very, very, very soon in the new year.
Just to also complement Derek, the fact is that whenever we go through an acquisition, we have a very complex and complete checklist. And one aspect of it of that due diligence is risk management in terms of the people, the competition, the systems, and we would have, and also would have put within the last one a time frame to see whether there are any surprises. And surely we would have been doing that for the last year and a half, and within the last 3 months would have been our final phase to these acquisition. And we're confident that what is expected as a base is represented, and the fact is the potential that we would have seen from the business is huge, huge. The challenge, the other aspect to it is that, one, the location of that business we think is the best location within that space, and also it is not only our experience has showed that yes, catering to the Caribbean diaspora is really good, but when you are catering to the Caribbean diaspora and also the African community, the impact is even greater. And we have seen that value proposition is real and will provide a major impact to the bottom line of Derrimon 2.0.
Yeah, man. So exciting times ahead.
Yes.
All right, so we have another question from the audience. What competitive advantages does Derrimon have in the export arena? Derek?
Okay. Well, to begin with, we represent a lot of brands here in Jamaica. The major competitive advantage we're going to have is that we're going to be exporting to ourselves. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the horror stories you'll hear Jamaican exporters have, that they'll ship stuff overseas and the people overseas have all kind of issues and reject the product, etc. And sometimes the people that they're dealing with overseas are not necessarily of the highest level of integrity. We have eliminated all of that. We'll be shipping to ourselves. We'll naturally be getting into Jamaican fresh produce at some point in time in the future. That's not a part of our operations now. So there's tremendous opportunity for us to have contract farmers and get Jamaican produce in a more sustainable way in these big, strong markets, because there is a high demand. It's really a question of us organizing ourselves. So we're going to bring those kind of synergies and those kind of strategic advantage, because when you are a part of the value chain right through, you have better control and you can take advantage of the benefits of that in a greater way. So that's just greater value for shareholders.
Yeah, man.
There is also two aspects of it. One, we currently ship to other customers in different parts of the world. So in terms of the outbound logistics and packing and having a full understanding of the process, we have that. Two, Derek spoke to alignments within the local space. He failed to speak to the other aspect. Our cold and chill storage facilities that we have here allows us to buy, to store, and to ship. So in terms of market and market timing and playing the market when there is surplus on the market, we are in a position to buy, to create, to store, and to ship. And surely, shipping into a bigger space where there's more people for products which are in high demand, even though there may be excess on the local market, it creates another price advantage when we move into that market.
Okay, so that's excellent information for any investor. So Ian, I'm going to prod you a little bit more, right? I went already and I have already applied for my Derrimon share. So I want to know, how will the acquisitions impact the margins and the overall profitability? Simon alluded to it, but I know that you have a lot. How will it benefit me as a shareholder?
Well, the truth is, Therese and investors, when you operate into a space where there is higher GDP and where the
12 times the GDP of Jamaica.
12 times the GDP. When you look on the average invoice spend, which maybe is another, Derek?
Oh, when the Africans are spending, the average amount they're spending is over $200, and it's 10 times the per income, the per capita income, not GDP, 10 times the per capita income.
Right. So when remember, what we're known for is to re-engineer business, is to improve the cost structure of the business that we have acquired thus far. And we would have gotten a full understanding of these two businesses' cost structure. Therefore, we see the current profitability, and we are sure by just re-engineering, by bringing on new products in incremental phases, our GP margin can increase by at least 50–60%. Our net profit margin can increase by at least 50–60%. And as time goes by, based on the timelines that we have in place, can only get better. The good thing, Therese, is that the chairman and myself and the team that is responsible for doing the due diligence have identified all the efficiencies areas, and we know what to do day one when detail makes the switch, flick the switch.
I think it's also important to mention that Derrimon will benefit from the experience that is already at these companies. If you guys could expound on that a bit more.
Yes, well, we're taking over the entity, but we're not going to be taking over with the existing owners. Will be staying on with us, and they'll have a stake in the business going forward.
A minority stake.
Well, obviously a minority stake. So we'll benefit from all of those relationships and knowledge in the market. So we're not going in. It's a new market for us, but to go in with a lot of information and with partners who have been in the business for well over 20 years.
Okay.
All right, so there you have it. We'll have people who know the business, who are going to be participating, who have a stake in the business, and ultimately we want to see this business succeed. All right, so we have a question here from Stephen from Gleaner, Jamaica. All right, so the question is just confirming, Derrimon expects to trade at a forward PE of about 10 times with a growth in profit from new acquisitions and legacy business? So that's our question. Simon?
Yes, Stephen. So the expectation is that the forward PE, and I'm happy that you mentioned the forward PE of the business as at the end of 2021, should be closer to 10 times or less going forward.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Currently.
That's good. All right, so Stephen also has a follow-up question. Also, what is the tax implication to the group with the business in the U.S.?
Well, Therese, we would have done, that's part of our due diligence, and there are certain tax treaties between Jamaica and the U.S., and we would have structure the company in such a way that we will have got the best tax efficiency advice with respect to how profits are accretes to the parent company. And the truth is, Jamaica will be the parent company for the new business, so the trickle-down effect will be through the best tax efficient
vehicles. All right, so that's good to know. We also have a question here from the head of Paradise Group. What is the plan for plant-based and eco-friendly cleaners? Derek, you want to take that one?
Yes, I'll take that one. Well, as I mentioned, some of the growth strategies and some of the growth plans for Derrimon trading is to get, not just to do the stuff that everybody is doing. So there are opportunities that exist right now for people to use more environmentally friendly and products that are more friendly to us as humans in terms of cleaning. And so pretty early in the new year, we'll be launching a new line of plant-based and eco-friendly cleaners that will give the consumers the choice to buy these products so they can sustain the economy. So we're broad in the base of the distribution company. So that's one of the stuff that you'll see coming out of Derrimon very early in the new year. So it's a whole raft of different products that we're bringing in, and we're in the advanced stage of a lot of it. You see, we use 2020 really to do a lot of planning for the launch of 2021. And so pretty much early in the new year, a lot of these stuff will be coming through.
Okay, so thank you for that. Feeding families, fueling growth, and also eco-friendly, right, with the cleaners. All right, so we want to talk to you a little bit, Derek and Ian. We want to ask you the question, what makes Derrimon different from its competitors out there in the market?
All right, there's a major difference in terms of, and I don't really like to look at competitors. There are other companies, but we are such a diverse company that we have a lot of partners and we operate in the space of a lot of other people. But the major difference between Derrimon is that we are in a rapid growth stage. People buying into this APO is we're buying into a company that is in a rapid growth stage. Other companies are more mature, and so even while they'll continue to grow, they're growing on a much bigger base, so the impact of their growth is going to be smaller. And some are not necessarily concentrating on growth, but on consolidation. Derrimon Trading is in a massive, rapid growth stage. We're going into one of the biggest, in fact, certainly on this side of the world, the biggest market. It's a huge consumer market. 68% of the United States GDP is based on consumption. That is where we're going. We're playing a huge market, a population of 330 million people. We have tremendous opportunities for growth. We're going into this market in a very safe way. And with the potential for growth is huge. There are other Jamaican companies that have gone into the United States and have done reasonably well. We have learned from them. But we're not just using the Jamaican example. We're using other examples that we have seen other companies going to the United States and do very well in a very short space of time. We see a unique opportunity for us, and we are charging off into it to get greater value for our shareholders, not just in Jamaica, but we know there are shareholders that will be all over the world.
I think also, too, when you look on some of, the fact is we are a distribution company, a retail company, and a manufacturing company. And there are products that within the manufacturing space which are natural and are Jamaican based, that is a hit within that big market which has such a huge diaspora. There's also an opportunity for us to bring those products into that market, and we are at that stage where we can bring products, develop products, bring products, and market that product in a big way. And that is also based on our agileness and our ability to move quickly within our decision-making process. That also helps to make us even more agile than our competitions.
Yeah, man.
Our partnerships.
Yeah, man, and it shows, right? It shows in the numbers. It shows. All right, so we have a question here from Denise Williams, CEO Financially Focused Media. Currently, we're in APO season. Quite a number of competing offers. Is Barita able to say why companies are choosing this time to approach the market. Simon, you want to kick it off and I'll finish?
Yeah, man, sure. I like to think that part of the reason is, you know, Barita's recent APO, which was led by Therese and the investment banking team, really showed that big deals are able to be done within a pandemic. So we've seen a lot of pent-up supply of capital market offers that have been on the table over 2020. I believe that what investors are, what companies, brokers have realized is that money is here and monies need a home. And these offers can be successful if executed properly.
Yeah, and just to add a little bit to that, you know, Simon, you know, companies typically come to the market when they're in need, right? And, you know, what we are seeing is that, you know, companies are seeing that there are opportunities out there and they want to take advantage of those opportunities, especially when you look in, you know, a COVID type environment. We anticipate that there are going to be many more, you know, whether or not it's going to be capital market raises or not. You know, we're going to see that, you know, there are a lot of opportunities, and we're seeing here where Derrimon, they are taking advantage. They're looking on several other accretive acquisitions that are going to take place, and, you know, they're making sure that, you know, they are part of the overall success and the growth of their own story. So, yes. All right. All right. So we have some more questions here. All right, the questions are coming in. All right, so we have a question here. What would support your confidence in Derrimon being willing to underwrite a $3 billion equity transaction? All right, so, and I'll take that one, right? So we're talking here, what would support Barita's confidence, you know, in underwriting a $3.5 billion equity transaction, right? So let us get the numbers right. Now, why are we supportive of Derrimon? We spoke about it earlier. We spoke about the synergies that we see. Derrimon is in expansion mode. They're talking about, you know, they're trying to go out there, and they're not trying, they're actually doing it. They're entering the export market in a big way. They have diversified their revenue streams. They have shown us that they're able to give us superior rates of return. In addition to that, they're expanding their footprint internationally. That's a big deal, right? So, you know, when we had our own APO, we spoke about it, and we saw the synergies, you know, that can be leveraged by working with a Derrimon. So therefore, when you talk about the robust financial performance, we talk about their ability to successfully complete several accretive acquisitions. You know, we talk about them expanding their footprint. We talk about, you know, the very good and above industry average return on equity. It's a no-brainer for us, and that's why it is that we stand firmly behind Derrimon Trading Company Limited.
And Therese, that is within the context of the company now having a capital structure that is a lot more attractive.
Yes.
That is a lot more equity-based rather than debt-based. And I just want to point out to investors that having this large equity base, or a majority of the capital being in equity, gives the company the ability to raise cheaper debt further down the line if needed. So we've seen where Derek and Ian have a demonstrated track record of being able to manage their balance sheet, to use debt in order to invest in something that makes more return.
Yes.
Right? So further down the line, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think that these guys are very used to being able to expertly manage debt. So I mean, maybe that is on the horizon, and you will see further transformational growth.
It's a bigger, stronger, broader base of equity, and we can do a lot more with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. You know, you would have heard a lot about Derrimon Trading Company Limited. You would have heard about the lines of business, their robust financial performance. You'd have heard about the upcoming APO that opens on January 6th, 2021. On behalf of our panelists here, the Derrimon team and Burrito Investments Limited, we would like to thank you for your time here today. The question showed us that you read the prospectus, you were paying close attention to what the panelists were saying, and we are eternally grateful for you guys to do that. But it doesn't stop there. We want to encourage you guys to start sending in those applications. You know, we have been getting a lot of positive feedback, and we want you to be a part of the ongoing success story of Derrimon Trading Company Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Derrimon has been a part of your life for longer than you've known. From the rice in your Sunday dinner, to the Nestle products in your homes, offices, schools, and churches. From outlets like Sampars and Select Grocers. From the wood pallet manufacturers used to carry, ship, and store the things you buy daily. To your favorite flavors and fragrances. Derrimon's been there, steadily growing into a multi-billion-dollar empire. This APO is your chance to grow with a billion-dollar brand. Kickstart the new year with the Derrimon APO.